Okay. What's going on? Here we go again. Here we go again. Hope y'all digging the poncho, taking it back to the Native American roots. You feel me? Yeah. Okay. Gotta check these mics, make sure y'all can hear me. Everybody, as you're coming into the room, do me a favor. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button when you're coming into the room. If you're new to the channel, I gotta say it every time. If you're new to the channel, do me a personal favor and smash the subscribe button. I noticed that a lot of times they have been unsubscribing some folks. I've had people tell me, "Hey, I will subscribe to you. I haven't been getting any alerts. I don't know when you're going live. I'm doing a lot more lives now, so be sure to hit the bell button when you subscribe. You hit the bell to set your notifications to all, so you get an alert every time I go live. With that being said, let's get into the topic of conversation for today. You see the thumbnail, you see the title. We're talking about the fires out there in Hawaii. Now, full disclosure, I lived in Hawaii for 5 years. I lived on the Big Island, Hilo side, for 2 years, and I lived in Honolulu on the island of Oahu for another 3 years. So I still have friends to this day who have their families out there in Hawaii. I have friends who are from Maui, who have families in Maui, who I've spoken to. One thing I can say about Hawaiians is they're very resilient. They're very focused on the local community. So there's a lot of strength in their ability to help each other. They're very resilient. They're able to come together in natural disasters like this. Now, they're fighters too. Out there in Hawaii, they really do not like. Um, they really do not like the federal government. they they're not big fans because you got to understand back in 1959, it wasn't until 1959 people alive today were born in a state that wasn't a state, if that makes any sense. There's Hawaii did not become a state until 1959. So it's still in their lexicon that, hey, these people, this country named the United States conquered us. When you're walking around Hawaii, you might see people with the rifles on their shirts, and uh, they're pledging allegiance to Queen Liliuokalani. She was overthrown in 1893 for for the interests of Pineapple Dole Company, right? So there's a lot of pushback against some people out there in Hawaii. There's some fighters out there, and I want to give a quick salute and respect to the resilience of the Hawaiians. Give y'all some knowledge about the history that they're still very proud of. They're very proud of their history out there in Hawaii. I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to get comfortable, y'all. While we settle in, I'm going to have to slow stroke this thing. So we're going to be here talking about this topic for a while. All right. So what we're going to do, what's on the agenda for today? We're going to go over a few articles. We're going to watch a few videos. And I mean, Hawaii is a democratic state, right? It's a very liberal leaning state. And they are not happy with this Democratic president by the name of Joe Biden. They are not pleased with the accountability. They are not pleased with the way that this fire in Maui was handled. There's a lot of there's a media blackout. Nobody seems to be wanting to talk about this topic. There's people who are still recovering, hundreds, and the official number is like 115, with thousands of people missing. They say there's 1,000 plus people missing, but the official death toll is at 115. So we're going to get into some of these numbers. We're going to read some articles on the topic. We're going to watch some videos. But let me just say, although Hawaii is a Democrat state, they always vote Democrats over there. They're not happy right now. Joe Biden came to Hawaii and gave a speech. People are pissed. Joe Biden went over there. There's people suffering. They lost their kids. They were not warned. They lost their homes. They've lost everything. They literally on foot were running and jumping into the ocean to get away from a fire. And Joe Biden goes over there to Hawaii and tells them, "Oh, I lived through something similar. There was a fire in my kitchen and I almost lost my cat." Your cat? You lost your cat? So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. That's the wrong answer. That is not what he should have gone over there and said, because people are pissed. There's a lot of confusion because the media is not talking about this. So there's people, there's conspiracy theories saying, hey, how were these fires started? Were these fires started by a blue beam, a beam of light? Was this an act of warfare? Was there an attack on the power grid? Was there a beam, some type of ray beam used? Who benefits? Key bono. Why is it that one side of the island was untouched where all the rich folks stay, and the other side where all the middle class and lower class folks stay is born scorched to the ground with no sirens, no alert warning system, nothing, no forewarning? So we're going to get into it. As y'all come in, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, and we're going to talk about it. Shout out Michael Pan in here early. He said, "I do understand about going back to your American roots." My man Michael Pan. That's right. That's right. All right, so let's get into it. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Here we go. So when I say Joe Biden went over there and started saying, excuse me, Joe Biden went over there and started pandering to these people, trying to relate to them, saying that he's been through something similar. This is what I'm referring to. I'm going to play that video, then I'm going to show some people's response to that. So check this out. Oh, I might need to cut my music. Yeah, let me cut my music. Pink. All right, check this out, guys.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my '67 Corvette, and my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters.
So Joe Biden goes into a situation where people have literally lost everything they own. Their homes have been scorched to the ground. Their homes have been scorched to their ground. Their kids have been killed, burned. The most brutal death you can imagine, burned by themselves, alone and scared. And Joe Biden's reaction to this is, I almost lost my cat and my '67 Corvette? How selfish and self-absorbed can you be? Do you see the people in the audience in the background as he's telling this story? Do you understand you're going to Hawaii where people have just lost everything? People have lost their wives, lost their husbands, lost their children. They got no warning from the government. They were turned away from escaping to freedom by the police, who have put barricades and blockades stopping them from running. They are scared and confused and hurt because they've lost their family members. And Joe Biden's response is, I almost lost my cat. So I can relate to you. I've been through something too. Listen, it's not all about you, Joe Biden. It's not all about you. That's the wrong answer. But you think that's just me saying that? Check this out. Let me play you. Let me play you some responses so you can get an idea of what the people what the people on the ground in Hawaii, what they think of this story that Joe Biden has just shared. Now I posted this on my Instagram. You know, I'm not the most yeah, let me I just posted this just a few minutes ago. Check this out. Hold on, let me play it again because I want to make sure we got some volume here. Check this out.
Impossible to believe that this guy, that this old man, this Walmart greeter, this fake installed president, why the fuck is his wife with him wherever he goes? We didn't hire this person. I didn't hire you, Joe. You're a traitor. I know what you are. I know what Kamala is. I know what the Democratic Party is. And I know that we have a constitutional crisis of epic proportion. But hearing you talk about your house that, had a little fire, you almost lost your cat and your Corvette. There are children that were incinerated to ash. You fucking old man. You vile human being. The only way you feel you're able to communicate and you have some kind of, you're so out of touch with the common man, you don't even understand how to speak to them. The only way you think you can establish commonality with them is to lie. That the same thing happened to you, no matter what the tragedy is. Your son wasn't killed in action, by the way. Your house didn't burn down. Your children weren't burned to death. How dare you get up there and speak this way? Your job is to go there and assuage them in a way that you talk to them about their loss. Now you can't imagine what it's like. That you can't imagine what it's like never to find the bodies of the poor children that were sent home from schools that died alone. Alone. In fear. Without their parent or a guardian. That the most abhorrent thing happened. You're a disgusting, despicable bastard. You're too old. You need to step down from office. Maybe the cackling hyena behind you, maybe she'll rise to the occasion. She can't even form a coherent sentence. This is an outrage. An outrage. We should just rebuild the goddamn thing the way it was. When you hear the psychopath, the first thing out of the governor's mouth was, we're going to reclaim the land for this or for that. Who the fuck are the people we hire in government? And if there's any truth to the matter that this idiot held back the water, he should be sent down to Guantanamo Bay. Never to be seen again. It's just outrageous how we behave in this country. There's no adults. An event, no matter how tragic, there should be men that are able to rise to the occasion. In 5 seconds, you should know what to do. You should understand the right thing. You almost lost your cat. Go fuck yourself. It is.
Now tell me where's the lie. Tell me where is the lie. I mean, it's outrageous. It is outrageous the way this situation was handled. The way that Joe Biden has decided to respond to the situation. It's like, how self-absorbed, how narcissistic could you possibly be to go to people who have just lost everything? They've just lost their children who were sent home from school. The parents weren't alerted that their kids were being sent home from school. The parents weren't alerted that there's a massive fire going on. They've lost their kids, and your response is, I've been through something similar, and I almost lost my cat. I almost lost my cat? Really? Really? Is that what we have to say? Now I'm having some technical difficulties. Y'all bear with me here. Y'all bear with me here, trying to get this straight. But the man, he hit the nail on the head. I couldn't say it better myself. It's just so narcissistic of Joe Biden to show up to these people and tell them something like this. Now, we are going to have to discuss the facts on the ground. What exactly happened? What caused this fire? What exactly happened? There's been a breakdown on the AP, so I am going to play that. But if I could get this, I'm having some technical difficulties, so y'all gotta bear with me. Cause like I said, and I've been meaning to address this situation because it seems like there's a media blackout. I haven't been able to get enough information on it myself. I had to go and purposefully do some research because this it's not all over CNN. It's not all over MSNBC. I think they're embarrassed and ashamed because Hawaii is a democratic state. So people yelling at their Democratic governor, people yelling at their president, their Democratic president. It's not good for the news. It's not good for the news. Not for the liberal mainstream media. No, they can't show that, right? They can't show that. I cannot get, what did I do? This thing is frozen, and I'm trying to share my screen so we can go over this article together. I might have to. I would hate. I'm struggle streaming here, guys. Y'all do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. I might have to go out. I would hate to do it. Y'all give me a second. I would hate to have to log out because I'm kind of vibing here. Y'all bear with me, guys. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I'm back. Can y'all see me? Look. You're killing me, Schmoes. You are really killing me. You're killing me, Schmoes. Well, I can share my screen now, but now my camera's off. Come on, guys. Don't do me this way. Don't do me this way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And we're back. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I appreciate y'all sticking with me through this temporary setback. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to check out this article. We're going to check out this article. We're going to check out this article, which is breaking down exactly what happened in Maui to cause the fires. Get this music. Come on, come on, come on. If I could, just don't where's my? I guess we're just gonna have to power through. Here we go. Here we go. I got my music back. All right, let me share my screen here. Let's go over this article. Before we get to the AP article, we're going to start off with this article from CNN. Make sure y'all can see this. All right, so it says Hawaiian Electric says power line started morning fire on August 8th, but not afternoon Lahaina fire. Now this is important because the people of Maui are suing the Hawaiian Electric Company, saying that they did not cut the power to their lines and their lines fell, and that's what caused the fire. This is a lawsuit from the people of Maui against the Hawaiian Electric Company. Now, there's a lot of people online saying that, oh, this was an attack on the power grid. I'm not here to rule it out. Some people online are saying, hey, there was a beam, there were submarines found or seen, spotted in the oceans, in the Pacific Ocean near Hawaii off the coast of Maui prior to the fire starting. It's possible that there was some type of ray gun. Listen, these are some online conspiracy theories. I'm not here to disprove them. I'm not here to say they're true or they're untrue. I don't know enough about that to speak on it. I'm just going over the official narrative that is being put out by the mainstream media, CNN, and then we're going to go over the official timeline, the official documented timeline that is being reported by the press. Okay, so I'm just here to report the news as far as what it is that their official narrative is. And a lot of times, you don't have to go through a whole lot of uh, conspiracy theories, because the mainstream media, if you just let them talk long enough, they're going to tell you everything you need to know. The lies are easy to spot, and you can just break down what they say. So what we're going to start off with is this article coming from CNN, and they seem to be blaming the Hawaiian Electrical Company. So let's get into this article. Hawaiian Electric Company said that the power lines falling in high winds seem to have caused a fire during the early morning of August 8th. But power lines in West Maui, which is where the deaths occurred, had been de-energized for more than 6 hours by the time a second afternoon fire began in the Lahaina area. Now, this is where the people were most harshly affected, in the Lahaina area of Maui. The company made the comments in a new response Sunday to a lawsuit filed by the County of Maui. In a lawsuit filed Thursday, the County of Maui alleged the electric company, this is the lawsuit that I was referring to earlier. In a lawsuit filed Thursday, the County of Maui alleged the electric company, known as HECO, inexcusably kept their power lines energized in early August, despite the fact that the National Weather Service issued a high wind watch and fire warning. So this is the concern. This is the concern. This is the concern. This is why there is a lawsuit. They're saying, hey, you all, we told you there was a fire warning. We told you there's high winds. You know that there was a possibility of forest fires should you not de-energize your power lines. And they're saying that the company did not. So this would be a failure on the private company. Why would they keep their power lines energized in a high wind scenario such as this? I'm not sure. We're going to find that out over the course of this investigation, over the course of this lawsuit. Let's read more of this article. The utility states that the cause of that afternoon fire has not yet been determined. That afternoon fire ultimately grew into the inferno that killed at least 115 people and damaged or destroyed more than 2,000 structures. Now, again, I mentioned this before. Their official narrative is that there's 115 people dead, and then they quickly pivot to the 2,000 structures that have been damaged or destroyed. But they don't mention the number of unaccounted people, the children that have been unaccounted for. There have been some numbers as high as 1,000 unaccounted for people, children, many children, up into the thousands. 1,000. There's a number that's gone around of up to 1,000 people unaccounted for. So they pivot to 115 people who have been killed. That's the official death toll of people who have been accounted for. But the question is, what about all these people who are just missing? Now, this fire was back in late August. We're now in September. There's no reason, if these people were still alive, that they would be unaccounted for. We have cell phones. It's not like this is back in the day when you kids would run off into the woods after a disaster and they're just hiding and they're missing. No. If these people, they're not all kids, but if these people who have been unaccounted for were alive, they would have had a cell phone, an email, an upload on social media. There would be some way of them reaching out to their family members. But the problem is, a lot of people, in an effort to escape the fires, they ran into the ocean. Many people jumped into the ocean. We're going to get into that later too. We're going to go into the articles and show you that people, many dozens on top of dozens, if not hundreds of people, jumped into the ocean to avoid these fires. If you drown, if you're a child, you're running from a fire, you jump into the ocean, it's kind of hard to account for those numbers, because what are we going to declare them dead? We don't know. They've drowned. Many of them. I'm not saying all of them, but many of them. And it's a terrible situation that should definitely be addressed and talked about. And outside of a few articles that I'm over here having to dig up, I don't see too many people on CNN and MSNBC talking about this. And they're acting as if it's over and if it's done, but these people are out here homeless. Thousands, it says 2,000 structures were damaged or destroyed. There's thousands of people missing, hundreds, if not thousands of people missing, hundreds of people declared already dead. This is an ongoing situation. People are in need help now. There's a concern about sending homelessness in America. Well, imagine your home just got burned to the ground. What's that going to do? And do you understand the overpopulation of these islands? I lived in Hawaii for 5 years. I know how big of an issue that is. There is a massive issue with overpopulation on some of these islands, such as Oahu. Now, where do you think these displaced people from Maui are going to go? Where do you think they're going to go? Do you understand what an island, you can drive around the entire island in like 4 hours? There's only so much land that people can live on. There's only so much water that people can drink. There's only so much resources. And when you displace thousands of people, you burn their homes down. They don't necessarily want to leave Hawaii. So where do they go? Big Island. They're going to go to Big Island. They're going to go to Kauai. Going to go to Oahu. And now these economies have to absorb the hit of, we just got this massive influx of homeless people. Homeless, and now they're unemployed, and now many of them are undocumented. What do you do when your home burns down that has your social security card? What do you do when your house burns down that has your birth certificate? What do you do when your house burns down that has your passport? And you were running out of your house, you have nothing. You might have left your wallet. You might have left your cell phone in the car that you had to jump out of. You jumped out of your car because there's a fire burning down the road and you have to get out or die. And you have to jump into the water, jump over. We're going to get into it. Can you imagine? Just imagine. Think about it from the bigger picture. Think about it as if you're an alien looking down on the earth. Having some compassion for these people. Right? But the mainstream media doesn't seem to want to talk about this at all. Let's read a little bit more of this article. In a press release, HECO mentioned videos showing that power lines had fallen to the ground in high winds near the intersection of Lahaina Luna Road and Hukahua Street at approximately 6:30 a.m. But that morning, fire was declared 100% contained by the Maui County Fire Police Department at 9 a.m. So they're saying there's multiple fires. The first one was contained at 9 a.m. That's not the one that produced the most casualties. This is the utility company's argument in court. Hey, there were multiple fires. The first fire, we had it under control at 9 a.m. After that, we cut our power lines. So the fire that caused all this damage to Lahaina, that's not our responsibility. That's not our fault. We should not be held liable for this. This is what the utility companies are arguing in court. Now, there's two options that we can go with this narrative. Number one, let's say that the utility company is lying. There's going to be some type of fail-safe, some type of record of what time exactly the power was cut to prove with a certainty, beyond a shadow of a doubt. They should be able to prove that, hey, we cut off the power at this time. It's documented here. So there's no way that our power lines caused this fire. In which case, if that is true, if the utility companies are telling the truth, then the question remains, what caused these fires? There's already, like I said before, there's already a lot of conspiracy theories saying, hey, this could have been an attack. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I can't disprove it. I can neither confirm nor deny. I don't know. I'm just saying if the utility companies are telling the truth, then the question remains, how did these fires get started? The other option is the utility companies are lying. The utility companies are lying. I tend to believe, hey, I think it probably happened as a result of these utility companies. Now, whether there was an attack on these utility companies or whether it's just a natural disaster as far as the winds, we'll see. Let's read a little bit more of this. The press release from HECO then explains, once the fire was out, Hawaiian Electric emergency crews arrived at Lahaina Luna Road in the afternoon of August 8th to make repairs. They saw no fire or smoke or embers. All lines to Lahaina remained de-energized, and all power in the area remained off. Shortly before 3 p.m., while the power remained off, HECO said 3 p.m. Now, we went from 9 a.m., at which time the fires were contained. Now we're at 3 p.m. The power remained off, HECO said. Its crew members saw a small fire at about 75 yards away from Lahaina Luna Road in the field near the intermediate school. They immediately called 911 and reported that fire. Now, where did this fire come from? This is at 3 p.m. So what happened between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.? They contained the fire at 9 a.m. They said there was no signs of smoke, no embers, nothing. At 3 p.m., all of a sudden, there's a new fire? How, Sway? How, Sway? Also, we're gonna have to get into why were these people not alerted? You called the fire department at 3 p.m. So why was it until 6, 7 p.m. and we're gonna have to go over this timeline that the whole city was engulfed. So you've had plenty of time to address it. There were hours between 3 and 6 to 7 that the fire department had a chance to alert the citizens and chose not to. We're going to read a little bit more of this article, then we're going to go on to the next one, which has the timeline, which is something I really wanted to emphasize. In a statement to CNN Monday, John Fisk, the attorney representing the county of Maui in the lawsuit, said, to the extent HECO has information of a second ignition source, HECO should offer that evidence now. Like, okay, if it wasn't you, then who was it? That's what they're saying. The ultimate responsibility rests with HECO to de-energize, ensure its equipment and systems are properly maintained, and ensure down power lines are not energized. CNN asked Fisk for clarity on why they believe Hawaiian Electric has information on a second ignition source. On Tuesday, Fisk replied that Hawaiian Electric has now admitted to starting the Lahaina fire on August 8th. Huh? So first they're saying we didn't do it, now they're saying they admitted it. Wow. All right, we're going to read this. This is the HECO, Hawaiian Electric Company, their response. So we're going to read this, then we're going to move on. In its recent release, issued Sunday night before the markets open, Hawaiian Electric appears to have suggested there could be a possible second ignition source in the afternoon of August 8th without providing any supporting information, Fisk said. The investor-owned utility also appears to blame the very firefighters who risked their lives trying to stop the fire that the utility caused. Uh-oh. Whoa, they're saying that the company is blaming the fire department. Maui's firefighters responded quickly to Hawaiian Electric's fire the morning of August 8th and fought and tended to the fire for approximately 8 hours, achieving 100% containment, pouring over 20,000 gallons of water on the area of origin. To the extent HECO fire flared up in the afternoon due to high winds, that is not the fault of the dedicated firefighters or Maui County. So basically they're saying, hey, we did our best, we put out the fire. If the fire got restarted, that's not our fault. The first fire that you created, we put it out to the best of our ability, It somehow, some way got rekindled, reignited, but that's not our fault. Ultimately, this all rests at the heels of the HECO company, Hawaii Electric Company. All right, read this and then move on. Sheila Kimura, president and CEO of HECO, said, "We were surprised and disappointed that the county of Maui rushed to court even before completing its own investigation." I kind of agree with her on this. She's saying, hey, you all haven't even done a thorough investigation yet. How is it that you're already suing us, holding us responsible? Can we at least have an official investigation first before you start doing the lawsuit? Is it that this lawsuit is trying to place blame or shift the narrative to point the fingers at HECO? It's like you know something, or if I know I'm responsible for doing something, the first thing I'm going to do is blame someone else. Like you're in the elevator and you pass gas. So you say, hey, did you pass gas? It stinks in here. Knowing that it was you the whole time that did it. Huh? They're trying to deflect the narrative. This is what the HECO, the president and CEO, Sheila Kimura, is saying. Hey, we haven't even done an investigation. Why are you so quick to blame us? Why not do a thorough investigation? Could it be? I'm just asking questions here. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just asking the question. Could it be that those in power of Maui, I'm talking about the city council, the city government who is suing the HECO company, is trying to distract the people from the real cause of this situation? I don't know. Just asking questions. Just asking questions. But she's saying there hasn't even been a thorough investigation yet. So why are you so quick to sue us? It is inconsistent with the path that we believe we should pursue as a resilient community, committed and accountable to each other as well as to Hawaii's future. Blah, 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 blah. They're trying to be politically correct. We continue to stand ready to work to that end with our communities and others. Unfortunately, the county's lawsuit may leave us no choice in the legal system but to show its responsibility for what happened that day. Uh-oh. Now there's a fight going on. The president and CEO, Sheila Kimura, is saying, hey, we're not asking for this fight, but y'all are so quick to blame us. Y'all are so quick to start a lawsuit and say it's our responsibility. Well, now that you brought us into court, it's our job to show it's your fault, city council. It's your fault for not alerting the people. We call this mitigating risk. Anyone who's been in law school, any lawyers out there, mitigating risks. You city council members, why was we test every month? We test these sirens to make sure that our national natural disaster alarms can go off and they're effective and they're working. We test these alerts every month to make sure they're working. Here was a natural disaster. Why didn't you mitigate the risks by alerting the people? Why not? Now the company is going to point fingers at the city council members. All right, getting interesting. Kimura also said that there are important lessons to be learned from this tragedy by all, and we are resolved to figure out what we need to do to keep our community safe as climate issues rapidly intensify here and around the globe. We invite others to do the same with us. So they're trying to blame climate change. They're trying to blame climate change. Hey, the climate is going to continue to cause us issues, so, we got to work together. All right, that's it for that article. We're going to read one, maybe two more articles before I log off here. This is the one, we're not going to read this whole article. We're not going to read this article, but we are going to go over the timeline. One thing I like about the Associated Press in this article in particular is they give a breakdown, a timeline of the situation that affected Maui, and I want to highlight that very quickly. And after that, I'm going to give some closing thoughts. All right, so let's check out this timeline so we can see what exactly happened. And this is going to feed into the fact that the mismanagement, the mishandling of the situation as far as alerting the people and fighting these fires. You see the title of this article? In deadly Maui fires, many had no warning and no way out. Those who dodged a barricade survived. So they had to dodge a whole barricade. You see the fires over there in Maui? Man, this stuff is crazy. This stuff is crazy, and it could be you. Don't think because this happened in Hawaii. Don't think you're. I don't know what part of the world you're living in. I don't know what part of the world you're living in, but hey, bad things happen. It rains on the good and the bad. It rains on us all. So don't think you're so safe. Alright, let me make sure. Hold on. Make sure y'all can see this. I want to make sure y'all can see. Let me adjust so you all can see. Alright, so here's our timeline. Maui's first fire, we can see over here. Maui's first fire ignites near Kula. This is 12:20 a.m. Tuesday, August 8th. This was almost this fire happened almost a month ago. Do you know that there is still hundreds, if not thousands, of people unaccounted for? And a media blackout on the topic. So check it out. A brush fire at 12:22 a.m. eventually named the Upcountry Fire ignites the Olinda Road area of Kula. Evacuations in the upcountry region begin with a few hours, and combating the dangerous blaze requires much of Maui's limited firefighting resources. Maui County has only 14 fire stations, 10 of them on the main island. On the main island. The Upcountry Fire. Sorry, I had a phone call here. The Upcountry Fire, shown here with satellite detected hotspots, will continue to burn for days, destroying 19 homes and endangering many more. So that's what time it officially starts. 12:20, August 8th. That's the first fire. Let's go on to step 2. At 6:37 a.m., a second fire ignites in Lahaina. Now this, as we saw in the article, was the fire in Lahaina that they were able to contain by 9 a.m. Remember, there's 2 fires in Lahaina. The first fire was contained by 9 a.m. Right? So this is the first fire that they got contained. So check this out. It says a second fire ignites in Lahaina, 6:37 a.m. About 90 minutes after many residents in Lahaina and other West Maui communities begin experiencing intermittent power outages, Lahaina resident Shane Tro watches from his backyard as a utility pole splinters in the strong winds. He sees a flash and hears buzzing as downed line sparks a grass fire that quickly spreads near the Lahaina Intermediate School. Dubbed the Lahaina Fire, it forces part of a neighborhood to temporarily evacuate to a civic center on the north side of town. Authorities declare the small fire fully contained by about 10 a.m. Some reports said 9, they're saying 10. Okay. However, officials warn that winds brought by nearby Hurricane Dora will continue, making the area a high fire risk. Okay, so this is important. They're saying we contained the fire, but there was a hurricane around this time. Remember Hurricane Dora, which is very rare. We usually don't have a lot of hurricanes over there affecting states like California. Usually the hurricanes are in the Atlantic. They're affecting states like Florida, Louisiana, that area down south. Usually that's where the hurricanes are. But in this situation, there was around the time of these Hawaiian fires, Maui fires, there was a hurricane, Hurricane Dora, going through, affecting Hawaii, California, the West Coast. All right. So they're saying, listen, we got the fire contained by 9, 10 o'clock, but there's still a high chance that the fire can come back. All right. And y'all do me a favor, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. I forget to tell people that sometimes we can get into these conversations and lose track of that. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I really do. All right. So the second fire was contained by 9, 10 o'clock a.m. All right, then what happens? We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Y'all bear with me. We're almost done. I know you want to go on about your day, but it's important to have some history to understand exactly what happened, so you have some knowledge when you go out into the world. Lahaina fire jumps containment line. This is at 3:30 p.m. This is the second fire because it was contained. Remember at 9:10 a.m. So now where's this second Lahaina fire jumping the containment line? How? This is at 3:30 p.m. This is what they said 10. This is what almost 6 hours later. 6 hours later. The Lahaina fire has flared up, and a video shot by Lahaina resident Robert Arconado shows smoke and embers being carried down by howling winds. There's no clarity as to where the second fire is coming from at this time. That's what's being disputed. At this time, it's not clear whether county officials are aware of the flare-up. A fire department update isn't issued until 4:45 p.m. Firefighters close Lahaina bypass. People near Lahaina Road beginning to flee. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, so a sophisticated warning system goes unused. Now this is the part that's kind of controversial. Why is it that there was no alert? Why was there no warning system? The 80 all-hazard sirens in Maui County are tested monthly to gauge their readiness, but they were never used as flames spread through Lahaina. Just a few minutes of warning would have saved lives, many survivors said. But more than a week after the deadly fire, Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator Herman Andaya maintained he has no regrets about keeping the sirens silent. Yeah, we didn't give you all any alert. We didn't give you any warning that there's a fire burning down your town. And I don't regret it. The audacity. The audacity. The unmitigated gall to say he doesn't regret it. And Daya argued that the sirens most often are used for tsunamis, and that would have caused people to head uphill into the flames. Facing mounting criticism, Andaya resigned 9 days after the Lahaina fire, citing unspecified health reasons. Listen, he was running. He was running from the heat. You don't regret not warning these people that there's a fire burning down their town? And how stupid do you think these people are that if you did alert them, they're going to run up into the mountains and they're going to ignore the smoke? They're going to ignore the flames? They're not going to see the fire and turn around and go the other way? At least they know if you alert them, if you sound the sirens, at least they know, hey, there's some danger. There's some problem here that I need to be aware of. Maybe it's the smoke coming from up the mountain. Maybe this is the thing that they're trying to warn me about. See all that smoke going up in the air? You see how it's getting a little hotter the more north we go? Maybe we should go south. You don't think the people are smart enough to realize that? He doesn't regret it. I'm not going to alert them. They would be too stupid to figure out that there's a fire if we did tell them. They'd be too stupid to save themselves. So no, I don't regret not warning them of the fire burning down their town, engulfing their children from there as they try to come home from school. But now I got a stomach ache, so let me quit. I've been working fine all this time getting my check, but as soon as I mishandle this situation, I don't alert anyone to the fire burning down their town. Now my stomach hurts, so I'm just gonna quit, and I'm gonna back out gracefully. Crazy, it's crazy. All right, so what happened next? What happened next after the man decided? And trust me, there's some pushback. Trust me, these people are pushing back. They want some answers from this Andaya guy. He's not getting away that easy. All right, survivors say more minutes mean more lives saved. On the 5 sirens in Lahaina, 2 have solar power, so they can be triggered during power outages. Emergency officials said the operations center was activated in response to the upcountry fire and was fully staffed by the time the Lahaina fire rekindled in the afternoon. So here they're saying the Lahaina fire from that was contained at 9:10 a.m. it got rekindled. That's the argument being made here. Oh, that fire that we thought we put out at 9:10, we didn't really put it out. That's their argument. Schools were closed for the day, and many kids in Nate Baird's neighborhood were home alone when the flames hit, said Baird, who lives near Lahaina Luna Road. And then there was no warning. Nobody was warned. If we needed like 10 minutes, we could have saved a lot of kids. If we'd have just had like 10 or 15 minutes warning. No warning. No warning. Residents flee Lahaina Luna neighborhood. This is at 3:40 p.m. Baird, along with his wife, Courtney Stapleton, their two sons, his mother, and their dog, joined the rest of the neighborhood in a mad rush to escape. Flames have covered the eastern half of the road and blocked by the bypass exit, forcing all the residents west. Baird described a falling telephone pole and a car accident on the road behind him. Satellite imagery from the next day shows burned cars around what appears to be a broken pole. Hundreds of people were trapped in that neighborhood, just eaten alive by flames. Can you imagine? During a press conference 2 weeks later, Maui Police Chief John Pelletier says officers were working to help people escape the neighborhood, at one point knocking down a fence to get people out. Firefighters lost a truck to the flames and nearly became trapped themselves. Can you imagine? Let me just stop there. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing your neighbors get burned alive? Huh? Can you imagine? You're running, you're healthy, you're a young man, you're running from the fire, you're gonna be okay. And you look back and you see grandma with her stroller or her walker. Can you imagine? Ready to burn. That's a bad way to go, man. First they go with the smoke. Can't run. I'm choking. You got your lungs filled with smoke. You fall down. Next thing you know, you're feeling that heat come up on you. That's a bad way to go. That is a bad way to go. Almost done. I'm going to finish this timeline, then we're going to be out of here. Fire rushes towards downtown Lahaina. The strong smell of smoke at the Lahaina Surf Apartments wakes Hector Bermudez up from a nap. Before he flees, he urges a neighbor, about 70 years old, to also evacuate. And he said, "No, I am waiting for the authorities to see what they're going to do," Bermudez said. And I said, "No, no, no, please go. This smoke is going to kill us. You have to go." Bermudez said the neighbor did not leave and he doesn't know what happened to him. This is what I was just saying. This is what I was just saying. Can you imagine? You're a young man. I didn't even, I promise you I hadn't read this when I was just thinking about it. I didn't read this before. So I had no idea that's what it was going to say next. But I mean, it's just, yeah, I can imagine a situation like that. You're a young man. You're like, yo, I see the fires. It's smoking over here. Hey, we need to go. We need to get out of here. I can run. I'm healthy. I can run. I can do about a 13-minute 2-mile. 2 miles in 13 minutes. I can move. This man's 70 years old. He's my neighbor. This is my neighbor. He's 70 years old. I got a neighbor here in DC. She's 98 years old. My neighbor right here. About 98 years old. Can you imagine? I got to run from a fire and I'm healthy. I'm able to run. And I try to tell my neighbor, hey, we need to go. You need to go. There's a fire here. You need to go. And she's like, son, I'm 98 years old. This man said, son, I'm 70 years old. Let's wait for authorities. Let's wait for the firefighters. Let's wait for the government to come help us, come protect us. The firefighters. That's why we have firefighters. Listen, you cannot wait. You cannot wait for the government to come help you, come save you. You gotta save yourself. Protect yourself at all times. Rule number one of nature is survival is a must. Self-preservation is a must. You cannot count on other people, the fire departments, the government. You cannot count on anybody to protect you. You got to protect yourself. This man tried to tell his neighbor, hey, we need to go. This smoke is going to kill us. His neighbor said no. He's 70 years old. He said, no, I don't want to go. We don't know to this day what happened to him. All right. Almost done. Almost done. All right. Emergency agency. This is at 4:30. Announces evacuation. Hawaii Emergency Management Agency posts on social media that the Maui Emergency Management Agency has announced an immediate evacuation of the neighborhood that Baird and others fled an hour earlier. So they're about an hour late. Everyone else has been running from the flames, been running from the smoke. An hour after these people have already self-evacuated, and this other 70-year-old man who's been waiting for help, he's now getting word, hey, you guys need to evacuate. An hour late. Survivor accounts suggest much of the subdivision is already engulfed in flames. Many people are still without power and cellular service and have no way to check social media. The sirens are not activated. The sirens are not activated. So yeah, we sent out a post on social media. But there's no power, so you can't see it on TV. The cell towers are down, so you might not be getting any service on your phone. Your phone might be dead. You can't charge it because the power's out. You can't charge your phone. We have these alert systems that will alert everyone just by standing outside. You can hear it blazing, but we're not going to use those. Wow. All right. 2 weeks after the fire, Maui Mayor Richard Bison says during a press conference that communication was temporarily lost between some of the firefighters and county officials during the fire, but he doesn't know what time this occurred. 1, 2, 3. A few more times here. 4:33, evacuation from Front Street apartment. There was no warning. There was absolutely none, she said. Nobody came around. We didn't see a fire truck or anybody. Evacuation efforts hindered by closed roads. Now this is something that I've heard about. Let's read what they're printing here. A fire department update announces that the Lahaina fire flared up 75 minutes earlier and evacuations have commenced in part of the town. But Maui County doesn't make the announcement on social media until just before 5 p.m. Lahaina bypass remains closed because of the fire. Several other roads, including the highway heading south out of Lahaina, are also closed so Hawaiian electric crews can work on downed power lines, according to the county. So they shut down the roads. There's people burning. And they're shutting down the roads to get away from the fire. We got to work on these power lines. Hey, how about we work on these power lines later? How about we get the people out of the fire first? Now this comes to a question of priority. Where are your priorities? We're going to shut down the freeway that gets us away from the fire that heads south. We're going to shut down the whole freeway so that people can work on the power lines. Listen, there's already a fire here. The power lines are the least of our worries while people are burning to death. This is a question of priorities. You literally have police officers saying, oh, you can't use this road. You can't take the freeway going south to get away from the fire in the north. Take another route. We're doing construction over here. Listen, your construction can wait, man. Get us out. Where are our priorities? Where are our priorities? The closures block the only road. Let me highlight this when I read it. The closures block the only road out of Lahaina to the south. Drivers are directed by who? Directed by the police. Drivers are directed onto the bottleneck of Front Street where they become locked in a traffic jam. So the police literally lock down the freeway. This highway over here, I hope you can see my mouse highlighting it over here. This highway, you can take a look at the picture on your screen. They shut down the entire freeway so they can do construction, and they push everyone into a traffic jam on Front Street. Meanwhile, fires are coming down from the north. You can't use the freeway. We're going to limit our escape routes. There's people burning to death, choking to death, and we're going to limit our escape routes. The police chief later says officials were not trying to we weren't trying to keep you from leaving Lahaina. We just didn't want you all to, get hurt just from driving over live wires. Well, listen, I would rather them drive over live wires. They're in their cars. Cars have rubber. I would much rather that than them burn to death. Pelletier also says that at some point, officers began directing people away from Front Street because it had already gotten too late. He does not elaborate on where the people were directed. Just confusion. Just confusion. Shooting themselves in the foot. This was so mishandled. So poorly handled. We're almost done, guys. Three more. We're almost done. I appreciate everyone rocking with me so far. I really do. I'm sure most of us are not living in Hawaii. Most of us don't know anyone in Hawaii. I live there, so I know people there, but most of us don't have any direct interest in people in Hawaii. So if you're still here, you're rocking with me, checking these articles out, I know that you care. So I want to salute y'all. I appreciate y'all, rocking with me. We're not done, but I just want to be sure to acknowledge all my supporters, anyone who's been rocking with me this far, anyone who's hit the thumbs up button, anyone who's subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you rocking. I appreciate your heart to care about issues like this. All right, we're almost done. I just want to quickly acknowledge the subscribers, acknowledge the people who supporting me, motivate me to keep this thing going. So Front Street engulfed people who plunge into hurricane-whipped oceans. I don't know if you've ever been out into Hawaii and seen those waves, but can you imagine the waves in Hawaii when there's a hurricane in the area? Can you imagine the waves when there's a hurricane in the area? And you got to jump into that. Kids got to jump into that. Children, 3, 4 years old, to get away from the fire. Children of all ages, infants. You know what I mean? They're infants, children in car seats. Elderly people, 70, 80, 90 years old, having to jump into the oceans, the Pacific Ocean, to get away from a fire. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Children, parents having to carry their children into the ocean, having to jump into the ocean, kids in tow, kids in their arms, to get away from the fire after police have told them you can't take the highway to get away. You can't take the highway. You got to go into the traffic jam. Front Street engulfed, people plunge into hurricane-whipped oceans. People trapped in their cars on Front Street are soon faced with a horrifying choice: die as their cars burn around them, or leap over a seawall into the rough, hurricane whipped waves. Dozens make the jump. Dozens of people jump into the ocean, trying to keep their heads above water while burning debris and embers rain down on them. A private ambulance company based north of Lahaina calls the U.S. Coast Guard around 5:45 p.m., asking for help taking 10 people from Lahaina to Ma'alia via boat because a fire is blocking road access to Lahaina. When the Coast Guard arrives, they find roughly 40 people at this one spot, needing transportation to safety, and more in the water. Rescue efforts stretched into the early morning the next day. So between 4 and 6 p.m. on Tuesday to the early morning the next day, Wednesday, people are over there treading water, watching their cars burn. And there's no talk about this. Very little talk about this on mainstream media. Closed roads and dirt paths lead to safety, the diverted route to death. Closed roads and dirt paths lead to safety, the diverted route to death. Wow, that's a headline right there. Some residents ignore barricades or take advantage of four-wheel drives. Let me tell you, out there in Hawaii, everybody has trucks. That's the one good thing, especially about some of these islands like Big Island, Maui. They got trucks, man. Everybody has trucks, so they're taking those dirt roads. Because a lot of people, you want to go out to the beach. A lot of the local spots, not like the tourist attraction. I'm talking about the local spots where the locals go. You got to have a truck to get out there. You got to have a truck to go over these rocks. They got some beautiful spots out there in Hawaii. Only the locals would know about. You got to have a truck to get there. So everybody, I'd say the majority of people, the majority of cars in Hawaii are trucks. They got trucks, man. I'm telling you. So they were able to take advantage of the fact that they had trucks and go down some dirt roads because the main highway was being blocked off. Lahaina resident Kekoa Lansford takes a dirt road off the bypass, heading uphill behind the town to watch the fire. Over the next several hours, he makes repeated trips downtown, pulling burned survivors from Front Street and the seawall back up to his pickup in safety. This man is a hero. This man is a hero. Where's his interview? How come he's not on MSN and CNN and MSNBC? Why is he not being plastered on the cover of the New York Post, New York Times, Washington Post? This man is a hero. He's saving lives, taking multiple trips into the fire to get people out. That's what's up. Shout out to that guy. What's his name? Kekoa Lansford. Shout out Kekoa Lansford. Good job, dog. Baird and his family escaped by driving south around the orange cones, blocking the highway and past the utility crews. So some people just went straight, hey, you telling us we can't go? We're going anyway. Stop us. Past utility crews that are trying to direct them towards Front Street. We're not going down Front Street. We're taking the freeway. Get out the way. Get with it or get lost. They reached the town of Ma'alia by 4:18 p.m., texting neighbors to see if anyone else has made it out of Lahaina. Sometimes that's the time to be disobedient. I mean, if someone's giving you orders and directions that is going to lead to your death, sometimes, hey, listen, arrest me if you want to. We'll deal with that later. I'm going to survive now, and we'll fight out the rest in court. But I'm not going into the traffic jam when you got a perfectly good freeway here that's going to lead to my safety. Update on evacuations, 5:20 p.m. It's been almost 2 hours since Lahaina residents started fleeing burning homes, became caught in the Front Street standstill. Many people they've been sitting in traffic. The whole town is on fire and they're sitting in traffic for hours. Many people have already jumped into the ocean to escape the flames, according to survivor reports. Maui County shares another update on Facebook saying the road leading south out of town has been made clear and it's now reopened. The county warns that traffic will be slow. Alright, 2 more. We're almost done. Northern Lahaina begins to burn. 7:30 p.m. Housemates Richie Pillay, Maylee Sassini, and Adam something had been told by a firefighter hours earlier that their home was not at risk. Oh, you're fine. Your house is fine. But as embers begin falling like fireflies, they realize the fire is bearing north. They evacuate as the property across the street starts burning. They wait for the fire to come all the way up to their neighbor's house before they get out of there. Like others, they said they had no warning. Hey, how are we to know? 2 weeks after the fire, the police chief said officers knocked on doors and used loudspeakers. Why would you knock on doors and use loudspeakers instead of using the sirens that are posted on every street? To try to get people out of harm's way. He does not say exactly when or where those efforts occurred. I'm calling cap. That's cap. I don't believe it. They knocked on 2 doors. They knocked on 2 doors and used one freaking loud horn, bullhorn. They say, oh yeah, we did our best. You have city-wide alert system and you chose not to use it. So you tell me, which one's worse, this situation or the situation in Uvalde, Texas, where there was an active shooter and the police just stood outside cleaning their hands with hand sanitizer? At least they didn't actively put people in a worse situation. Here, these people actively directed people into traffic jams. They actively sent people into traffic jams while the city was on fire. And the people who disobeyed them were able to get to safety. The people who drove past them and said, I'm ignoring your orders, got to safety. It sounds like Uvalde to me. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We're almost done. The Associated Press has requested a number of Maui County public records that would provide more details about the location of public safety officers and firefighters, their communication efforts, and the progression of the fire, but the records have not yet been released. I'm looking forward to the releasing of those records. Here's the end of the timeline. The destruction of Lahaina becomes clear the next day. By Wednesday morning, Lahaina is an ashen wasteland of cars, with melted engine blocks and buildings burned down to their foundations. The scope of the devastation begins to grow clear, with officials later estimating that more than 2,700 buildings are destroyed and hundreds more are damaged. Within days, Lahaina is confirmed at the site of the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than 100 years. More than 100 deaths confirmed. Again, they keep going with this narrative of 100 deaths confirmed, and they're ignoring, or they're underreporting. They're not even reporting how many people are unconfirmed or missing. The vast majority of the remains have not yet been identified. 2 weeks after the fire, more than, what's it say here? Let me highlight this so you can see what I'm saying. The vast majority of remains have not yet been identified. 2 weeks after the fire, more than 1,000 people, according to the Associated Press, more than 1,000 people remain unaccounted for. We're almost a month after this incident. There's 1,000 people unaccounted for. What do you think happened to them? You think they're just missing? They're just out in the woods camping almost a month after this incident? Rest in peace. Rest in peace to the people who lost their lives in Maui wildfires. One of the most deadly wildfires in over 100 years. 1,000 people unaccounted for. And their families wondering if they'll ever see their kids again, if they'll ever see their significant others, their husbands, their wives, their friends. Over 1,000 people missing. Over 100 people confirmed dead. Thousands of buildings burned. And no alert, no warning to mitigate the risks, to mitigate the deaths. No alert, no warning given to the people of Maui. Guys, don't take life for granted. Do not take life for granted. Don't think, oh, it's just happened in Hawaii. That's crazy. Hey, man, you don't know what could affect your city. Natural disasters, war, inflation. Listen. You see where this thing is headed. I appreciate everyone who's rocking with me. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you made it this far in the video, salute. I really appreciate you rocking with me. You know, I know it was a long video today. I lived in Hawaii for 5 years, so I definitely had to make a video on this topic. But y'all didn't have to sit through it. I appreciate those of you who did. Hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. I drop a video just about every single day. Shorts, videos, interesting topics like this. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Come on back for more. An interesting perspective you probably haven't heard before. Hit the thumbs up button to support the channel and to support the video and the algorithm so people can say, hey, I didn't know this guy was uploading. Let me check him out. Hit the thumbs up button. It boosts us in the algorithm. I appreciate it. All right. And it gives me motivation. When I see your comments, when I see your thumbs up, it's like, wow, someone's actually watching. Someone besides me cares. I'm not just out here talking to the wall. Someone out there cares. I know I care. That's why I'm here talking about it. And when y'all support me, I do appreciate you. I really do. Do I have anything I haven't addressed as far as comments? Let me see. Michael Penn. No lie from the guy venting his frustration. Yeah. Yeah, that guy I played earlier who was like going in on Joe Biden. Talking about, oh, he lost his cat. He didn't even lose it. He almost lost his cat and his 67 Corvette. So he can relate to the people who lost their children, whose children burned to death alone with no warning and no parents to come and save them. He almost lost his cat. That's what Joe Biden has to say. I can relate to you, man. I know you just lost your home. You lost your children. You lost your wives. You lost your husbands. You lost your paperwork. Now you're undocumented. You don't have your birth certificate. You don't have your title to anything. You don't have any documentation. Your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card, it's all gone. I can relate. I almost lost my cat. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. Alright, guys, that's enough for me for today. Hit the thumbs up button. Smash the subscribe button. I appreciate everyone who continues to support the channel. Peace.